Hey, everybody, here we go. And it's time once again for the final edition of 2021 and the Angry Ghost Hunter. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us as we bring in the Angry Ghost Hunters of Ross Allison, Jacob Rice, and our man MERLE, as we take a look at the year that was in the paranormal. And it was a year that, once again, was exciting. We were able to get out and investigate. COVID didn't kill it for all of us. And we got out there, we got some evidence, we got some reviews, we tested out some new gear, and we met some new friends along the way. And of course, we shook our fists at the enemies. Yes, we did. I want to say a big thank you to everybody listening in here on Spaced Out Radio's YouTube channel. And once again, Ross Allison, it is always a pleasure to start with you here on the Angry Ghost Hunter. How are you doing, man? How was your Christmas, and Happy New Year to you?
Well, thank you. It was good. I was actually traveling quite a bit. I was gone for most of December. So I didn't get any of my Christmas shopping till the very last minute, which I hate doing that, but I did get it done. But otherwise, it was pretty good. I spent a lot of it in California, over on the East Coast as well, doing a few events and filming for a few projects. So that was always good. It keeps myself busy. But otherwise, yeah, I'm excited that this is a closing of the year for the show. I'm, excited. I'm very grateful, I should say, to you guys helping me get this back out there. When I first started this, it started out as a blog, and then it was picked up by Ghost Voices magazine, and they loved it so much they ran it for about 6 months until the magazine actually folded, not due to the Angry Ghost Hunter show, just so you know. And then it got picked up for radio for a little bit. We did that, but have not been able to be consistent with it because my schedule was just so crazy. And I was trying to do it weekly, but as you know, with this busy schedule, I've been able to be successful running it monthly. And thanks to you guys for allowing me to do that. And I think this is the longest run that we've had for the Angry Ghost Hunter show.
Well, I got to tell you, my friend, that when you approached me about this earlier this year, that you wanted to fire it up, I was so excited about doing it. MERLE and I had talked about it. And, the one thing that I love associating Spaced Out Radio with, Ross, is professionals such as yourself, okay, and Jacob and MERLE. I mean, I like people who do it right the first time. And the way you guys investigate, the way you guys are professional, the way you guys aren't screwing over every other team out there, the way that you guys conduct yourselves on a daily basis was why I got really excited about bringing the Angry Ghost Hunter to our channel and giving our 14,313 subscribers an opportunity to learn about you guys. It was just a really big thrill for me this year because we don't do enough paranormal on the show. And, we've all discussed that in the past. I don't need to bring it up here, but I think this is a good catalyst and a good way for my audience to be able to learn from three of what I think are the best professionals in North America right here all together on a monthly basis, the final Wednesday of every month. So thank you for including us in your adventure as the Angry Ghost Hunter, my friend.
Well, we got a great team, definitely.
Absolutely. Jacob Rice, Merry Christmas to you, belated, and Happy New Year to you and your Seattle Seahawks and your 19 dogs and, whatever you have. Thank you so much for making this a special year, my friend.
Oh, thank you very much for letting me tag along on this journey. I have to say I love doing the show and look forward to it. I like to do it more often than monthly.
I hear you.
And the man who needs no introduction, MERLE. That's all you need to know.
That's all you need
MERLE.
to know.
And, it's been a good year for you, MERLE, up in the British Columbia area. I know things were a little bit locked down for us, and it seems we're going to be going back into a lockdown again here pretty quick. At least the kids in school will be for another week or so. But, MERLE, I think 2021 when I look at everything paranormal, I think the last 2 years have seen incredible growth in you and the way you've investigated and the way you conduct yourself. And congrats on a successful year, my friend.
Thanks, Dave. That's it, man. Do you want to, Merle?
Man of many words. You know this by now. Come on.
No, thanks, Dave. I appreciate you saying that. I've really kind of kept my head down and do what I believe in, and I'm happy that a lot of our outlooks and opinions ally with very respected people like Ross and Jake and yourself, and it's just nice that we can have a group of like-minded people to talk shop and talk what we hate and what we like in a constructive conversation.
Emphasis on hate.
Well, we're going to kick off the first segment of this show as a year in review. And I think for all of us, we've all had experiences with ghosts this year. So, Ross, I'm going to start off with you. I want to hear Ross Allison's best experience of 2021, your best ghostly encounter.
Oh my God. It's to be honest, it's been having the opportunities to promote my work. I haven't had a lot of chances to ghost hunt because of my, being stuck at home because of COVID and writing my next few books. My 10th book just came out, Haunted Historic Hotels of the Pacific Coast. So I'm excited about that. That was my bucket list, was to have 10 books out. I've achieved that now. So now I got to up that up to 20. So hopefully I'll have 20 books out before I pass. But, I've had a lot of big accomplishments. I think the biggest thing for me, obviously this was a great thing that, Dave, you were willing to let us do. The Angry Ghost Hunter show. So I was very grateful to bring that back because I do believe that the subject matter is very important. I've always wanted to push education. But then I've also had the opportunities to actually do the live event with George Norrie. That was a huge thing for me in my career. So to have that opportunity was a great thing. And then, of course, that led to me being on his television series, Beyond Belief. So it's just, I feel like I'm continuing to climb the ladder. We also have the release of, Parasense coming out, the documentary that I've been working on. So we're excited about that. It's pretty much at the end. We're just doing a few little cleanups and little bit add-ons because we want it to be released as a feature, and it has to be at least 64 minutes to be a feature, and we were like at 58 minutes. So it's trying
B-roll.
to find so it's trying to find that the fill-ins and stuff. So so we're almost there. We're right there at the very tip and getting that out. And then right now, I'm being considered for another series that we just signed contracts for. So I got that out of the way, and I'm hoping with this production company that I'm working with now, they may want to take the reins of Parasense and get it out there, and get it further out there than we could right now in our own hands. So I'm really excited about that as well. So those are the things that have been part of my success this year.
That is absolutely wonderful. How about for you, Jacob? Your favorite ghost story that happened to you this year?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily call it a spooky story or something, but I would say the thing that stretched me as a ghost hunter was when we did the live ghost hunt in Astoria for the Oregon Ghost Conference last year, and I had to set up all the cameras and make sure that bitch ran.
And you did an awesome job.
And
an awesome job. Thank you.
That, I'm glad I did it, because now I got to give, total props to the people that put on events like this. And this was like me and some tablets and mobile Wi-Fi making this happen and setting up gadgets. So for me, that was probably my standout. But for my ghostly
Well,
encounter,
one
Go
other
ahead.
thing too. What makes this a little different, what he did is, you see a lot of these live shows, and usually it's like one camera and it goes to one camera and then, off to a different camera. Jake ran multiple cameras, which was awesome. So
Yeah.
he really did put himself out there, and he made it an amazing event. So again, thank you, Jake.
Yeah, and of course, the star of the show was Boo Buddy. Anyway,
Always.
moving on. But I would say when it comes to a ghostly encounter, I'll call it ghostly adventure. We went to St. Ignatius. It was a group event. Thank you, Melissa Becker, for making that happen. And so we went across Washington State to this, really old, they're starting to rebuild it, hospital in Colfax, Washington. We got a little side trip through old downtown Colfax into an old was a brothel, was a women's home. But just to have full access to this old Catholic hospital, that different states of disrepair going down to the morgue and everything, and just exploring the entire thing. Though the Rona, she really restricted what we could do this year, I would say. If anything, those were my two standout adventures. But unfortunately, no ghost groped me. So what can you do?
You could be a subject for parasense.
No, that's one hack from being all over the Reddit.
All right. How about for you, Merle?
One good thing that happened for me this year with the paranormal, I got some really good evidence, what I'd consider evidence on camera this year. And I know that for a lot of investigators, camera evidence is a lot harder to obtain than audio evidence. And I believe I sent it to you and Jake, actually, you, Ross, of that door opening in the hotel.
Yep.
And there was no explanation for it. And for me, that was a big validation. At that point during that investigation, mentally, I was evaluating my investigating style, how I investigate, who I investigate with, my intentions, what I'm doing, how I'm doing. I was in I need to kind of restructure my technique. And I went in that weekend with that mentality, and lo and behold, we had a full door open upstairs in the hotel, and I couldn't explain it because we were in an extremely controlled environment. And what made it kind of neat, because we could always say that it was the door settling, it was the hotel settling, the door wasn't closed, but it wasn't settling, and we'd asked it to open the door. And for me, that was really cool. As an investigator, boots on the ground, that's what you're looking for, that's what you're trying to obtain. You're trying to get that contact,
That intelligent response.
Exactly. And the tool, instead of saying, if there's anyone here, open the door, knock twice, we did our history, we did our interviews, we talked to the locals. I forget the guy's name right now, but we were asking for him, trying to have a conversation with him. And that was one of the tells at this hotel, where this hotel is in Ross and Jake's card sooner than you know. And that was amazing. We had a couple experiences, and I know Ross and Jake are gonna, and maybe Dave, because you don't like this stuff, are gonna poo-poo me on the next part. We tried the Estes method.
Let me roll my eyes now. They're kind of.
I like the Estes method. I'm the one who introduced you to it.
Yeah, but you know what? I never did it before like this at a hotel that was closed for us. And I found that kind of neat to do. I'm not sold on the whole method. That is something you just keep trying to do down the road. But I don't know. That was one of my favorite experiences ever as an investigator, was this hotel.
So, I mean, we got to give them credit for testing out new methods. So we always got to give props for that. Because we at A.G.H.O.S.T, we used the Estes method nonstop for like a month for everything we did. Never got anything sensical out of it, but we gave it the old college try.
What was really neat.
That's the thing, with ghost hunting, it's all trial and error.
Yeah.
You always got to try new things and come up with different experiments, but you can't always give up on it just once.
No.
That's the thing. It's, we're all about being in the right place at the right time. So it may not be successful the first time, the second time, or the third time, but, at least try it a couple more times and see if you get anything out of it. But in most cases, I'm not a fan of it, but.
And one more ghostly encounter, though, that I'm kind of surprised you didn't bring up, Ross, was kooks. back in the spring
Oh, yes.
in the
Who's
old
telling?
brothel. So that I forgot about that one too because I was behind the camera. I didn't think about it, but
Do tell.
that was a good. Well, you have to watch Parasense, the
Yeah, I was
documentary,
gonna
when it
say,
comes
I'm
out.
like,
Plug. But
Comparisons, yeah, that was again awakening moment for me because we're talking about experiments, and I'm constantly trying to come up with new experiments and getting out there. And my whole challenge for the past 6 years was to try and see if I could validate touch. And so I'm always thinking of new ways, new experiments that I could come up with to validate those experiences. And we actually believe that we came across a certain method that can validate with the sensation that the subject is picking up, but visually see it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, that was amazing. And then plus, this is when we were able to bring, Chad into the field, which is, the scientist that I've been working with. And he, has always been, kind of open-minded about it, but wasn't too sure, seeing is believing type of thing. And for him to witness this phenomena, and it basically solidified him in this research, because now he knew we're not messing around with him. He witnessed this from beginning to end. He even ran his own tests with this equipment and found that what he experienced was something we can't explain. And that's what got him into this, full time.
My favorite ghost story this year happened with my dogs. And as many of you know out there, I adopted Merle's German Shepherd a couple years ago, Shadow, who we call him Mr. Doe here. And anyways, it was probably a late spring or early summer when it started, where I took the dogs out one night after, it was on a weekend. And my dog Doug always comes right away when I call, but Shadow gets distracted at everything. If there's a sniff in the air, a bark in the distance, he's got to stand there and look. And what takes my dog 10 seconds to get when I call him, it takes Shadow a good minute and a half to 5 minutes. So I'm standing on my patio and I'm looking down on my patio and I see Shadow standing right below the patio. And I call him. And of course, he picks up his head and he's turning and he just keeps walking into the dark. And I'm like, Shadow, come. Shadow, come. Now I'm starting to get pissed off because it's a little cold out. And next thing I know, I see underneath my patio, which is my carport, I see my sensor light go on. And here comes Shadow from underneath the carport, and then running up my little hill to my stairs and up the stairs. About a week later, I see the Shadow dog again right beside my fence where the dogs walk to go at night to go pee. And I'm staring at it. And this Shadow dog, it's weird. Shadow and the Shadow dog are literally identical. Whatever this spirit of this dog has literally taken Shadow's appearance, the German Shepherd. And then there was a third time I saw the Shadow dog again about 2 weeks after that. And now we're heading into fall this year, and I hadn't seen the Shadow dog in a while. I call my dogs upstairs. I let them, up the patio. They go walking to the door. I open the door for them, and we all walk in, close the door, and I hear this thunk against the door, just a light thunk, and then scratching of a paw at my door, like, "Hey, you forgot me." I never opened the door because I'm not letting no Shadow dog in my house. But yes, I had a Shadow dog identical to the German Shepherd Shadow this year. That was probably the creepiest ghost experience I had.
That's amazing. So, quick question for you on that regard. Are you by any kind of burial ground, graveyard, cemetery, anything like that?
No.
Okay.
No. I don't know what it is. Okay. Like I started thinking about that, Jake, where, okay, I have a dog and a cat buried in my backyard. Okay. My house is 50 years old. Almost. Yeah. It's 49 years old. So there could be something buried. There's a green belt behind me where a lot of dogs like to run. The area is packed with coyotes. It is I'm sure way back in the day there was wolves in the area before the humans came and put their stamp on the area. But this looked identical. Walked like Shadow the dog,
Hmm.
moved like Shadow the dog, turned its head like Shadow the dog, looked identical to Shadow, who is a pure black, purebred German Shepherd.
What month did that happen in?
It happened over a couple of months, but it was spread out.
I would do a security camera.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
They're
have any cameras here.
But they're inexpensive. You can get them like for like $30. Put it out there in the yard, so you can
Mm-hmm.
capture it.
Could
It'd be the hellhounds.
Well, that's what I brought up.
partner.
I know. It's
Yeah.
like we brought the cemeteries, the hellhounds that guarded.
Well,
the
yeah, I
cemetery.
mean, I'm just talking, Chicago boy here. We got
Mhm.
Bachelor's Grove. It's known for its two black dogs, ghostly dogs, one a Doberman, one a Rottweiler that patrols the old highway. They moved the highway from one side of the cemetery to the other, and so I have seen the shimmer, but I haven't seen a shadow because I was there during the day, so it was a shimmer effect.
like each time I saw this, I was maybe 15 to 20 within 20 feet.
Okay, daylight, night.
One evening,
Mhm.
2 nights,
Okay.
and the scratching happened in the evening. The scratching at the door.
See, now
Security
I want to pack up my proton pack, head up there, not to bust the ghost, but I have a thing for dogs. I might have to bring a milk bone, an ecto milk bone. Remember, we're gonna have to do an investigation.
Shadow's lifelong best friend partner from down here went bye-bye this past year around May.
Oh,
So maybe,
could be a visitor.
yeah. Was it a German Shepherd?
Yeah, definitely a
Well,
German
that
Shepherd.
so was Shadow's old friend,
What was the puppy's name?
Mika.
Mika.
There you go. Start
There
calling
we
out that name.
Next time I see it, I will call it out for sure.
Okay.
For sure. We'll do a little bit of a test. And then the mystery I have from that, guys, is I always wondered what would happen if I opened the door.
You got snow,
Black-eyed
don't you?
dogs.
Yeah.
You have snow. Is there any footprints?
There's been, oh, yeah, my dogs and deer and whatever else is running out back there. But no, it hasn't happened in the snow. It's like when it started to get cold, everything just kind of faded off. So, I mean, what would make sense is if this was Shadow's buddy Mika coming by to hang out, it would make sense that Mike's timeline there of having everything good and me turning the spirit dog away at the door would be okay. This isn't my home. I better go, kind of thing. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. We'll investigate.
I know.
Let's
It's
move on to
just
topic
the
number
investigator
2.
in me is just like I want to get some
I'm
evidence.
thinking about it too, yeah.
Well, you guys can think about it, before Jacob's hat gets hard again. But you guys can think about it. And the door is always open. And Merle will tell you from her firsthand experience, my house and my property is very haunted.
It's a little spooky sometimes. Yep.
Oh yeah. I've had some pretty spooky things happen at my house, and from UFOs to ghosts and ghost children, ghost dogs, spirits
I've been
showing
there
up
too.
at my property.
I've been
Oh,
to
yeah.
your house.
I'm spending spring break at your place, Dave.
Come on up. Come on up. Well, and I think I don't know, man. It's an interesting area. It's an interesting area for sure, with the Gold Rush Trail right there. and this area being what it is for the last 50 plus years, 60 years. So yeah, the door is always open to you guys. Let's move on in topic, guys, because it is that time to move on here. And Ross, we're going to hit you up for the best and worst of the paranormal that you heard in 2021. Let's start off with the best.
Oh, that's a hard one. It's easier to start with the worst, to be honest with you.
Angry.
I'm not even sure if I can think of anything for the best. I think it's always great when we can open people's minds and hopefully educate, the listeners to help better themselves or their teams in being more, I guess, workable, in the field, and to be able to, share and get rid of the egos and the territorial issues. I know there's been a lot of those subject matters that we've had to deal with for the longest time. So I think the best is, yes, is if we can get people to come together and start working together on what our shared goal is. Again, try to prove and validate these encounters that people have. So I think the worst, though, is, again, I just keep going to the media. It's not helping us at all. These horrible television shows or individuals that represent the paranormal field with their egos and falsehoods, and they unfortunately get the wider audience, and people think that they're the gold to ghost hunting, and it's frustrating, because I'm going to bring a very bad example here, but when this production company contacted me and was interested in having me as one of their co-hosts, they wanted a co-host because they wanted a male and female to do the show. They brought up a certain female. I won't mention the name, but she was on a show, and they basically said, "Hey, how do you feel about working with her?" And I just flat out said no. I knew this individual's backstory, and I said, if I'm going to have a female co-host, I want somebody that I feel is my equal, and so that's just one of the things that's it's frustrating to me, because, they're coming to me wanting to bring somebody else from another bad show as a co-host for this one. And I couldn't do it. So they had me find my own co-host. So, yeah.
Ross, I want to ask you quickly about that because, for a lot of these ghost shows, it's just recycled ghost hunters. We don't
Mm-hmm.
see a lot of fresh new faces. I mean, we have over the last year and a half seen a number of fresh faces coming in, but not as many as we'd like. I'm tired of the recycled, people who've been doing this for 15 years. I want new methods. I want new ideas. I want new everything. But I also understand the reasoning the show does it because that person does have a social media following, and
That's
social
it.
media
They've got an
plays
audience,
a big
and they
role.
want to ride off that audience.
And
Yeah.
they've signed a number of autographs at paranormal events that go on. I get that. I can appreciate that. But have you ever talked to any of these producers about new people? Why, there's so many better people
Well,
out
you got to
here.
understand what they're looking for. You could be an amazing investigator, and I know there's a few out there. And the problem is, a lot of times, if you're the smart guy who really is, diligent in your research, you may not have the personality. That's the thing, is you got to have the personality to be in front of the camera. So we lose out on the fact that there are intelligent people. There are people out there that are truly trying to find the answers to the field, but they can't carry themselves in front of a camera. And that's, the biggest part that hurts us, because, they're going to go for people that are going to cause a lot of drama. They're going to, show ass and tits on camera. They want that.
We call that
The
engaging.
audience. Yeah. They want that for a show. And it's going to be a lot of those people that are going to be willing to be their little puppet on the string. They're going to look for people that are also, and this is the reason why, because the producers asked me, why don't you have a show? And I said, because I've been very picky about who I sign with. And a lot of these people, when you sign those contracts, you are their puppet. You have to do and say what they want you to say. Even if your integrity is at stake, you got to do it. And that's been the biggest thing that has kept me from, signing a lot of these contracts, is because I'm not willing to do that. I want the truth to be out there. So, a show can make you or break you. And most of these people are willing to do whatever they can to get a show. So.
All right, Jacob, your best and worst stories of 2021. What do you think was the best?
Okay. So since we're on the media, and I'm a huge paranormal media guy, I will say what I appreciated about this year that has been different for certain trends is a lot of the newer shows, revamps, have not been so hyperbolic about, they're not doing really jump scares as much anymore. I would say it's a far more subtle ghost hunting style without, a lot of times they're leaving out the woo as part of it. The thing that I also like is with existing paranormal, I don't want to call them celebrities, but paranormal media folks, they're extending their brands, and we're getting to see something new, at least, because you're right, Dave. In that regard, things have been stale for a while. So I know we don't want to say the name, but you got to give him kudos. Zach Baggins got a show for the Haunted Museum, which is like the Twilight Zone, a bit different from what we see with other paranormal reality. And then Eli Roth came into the mix to make, a horror maestro, right? Come in and produce some shows as well. You're right, though. It's the same old cast, folks being recycled through. We really haven't had a new wave of fresh-faced investigators or personalities, let's be real, since about 2016, 2017. And that's when we got Ghost Brothers. We got the Tennessee Wraith Chasers coming in. And Katrina Weidman came back. Did I say her last name right? I hope so. I don't want to screw it up. But Katrina, from Paranormal State and from Paranormal Lockdown, she was gone for a long time and she came back. That was the last time, right before the pandemic, that we saw a lot of new, fresh faces, if it's at least the same old ghost hunting. But in the concern, what you were talking about, though, with the pandemic age and cable TV revenue shrinking and stuff, this is why you need folks with an audience, because you're going to be dropping hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars to produce these shows. You got to make sure you have TuneIn, at least, or streaming for it. So I get where they're coming from for that. But again, a lot of people are coming in from YouTube. There's a lot of space for people to be creative and make the shows themselves, because you know what? You just need your phone. You need like a standard like Canon camcorder. You can make a show. So what's positive is there's more avenues for people to get in. The bitch is growing the audience. Mm-hmm. Now for worst, I'm doing the gadgets at the end of the show. So we'll get the real bad in that part. But that's my take on it. You're right. It's a little stale with folks. They're extending their brand, and there's a lot more avenues for people to get into it. If they just know how to produce something and get an audience out of it, you can get that hook and get it.
All right. And what's your downside to 2021?
Well, I'm going to talk about the gadgets and the prices on them going up. So I know we've got that coming later in the show. So I'll save it for that segment of it so Merle can get in.
All right. Merle, your best and worst that you've noticed about the paranormal world in 2021?
We're going to go ahead and start with the worst. Paranormal TikTok. There's so much false evidence now. Mm-hmm. It blows my mind, and I feel that it puts a little bit of a black eye on our field and our community. especially for the traditionalists, the actual researchers and the people doing it for the better
There
of our field.
even I'll bring up one thing. There are even shows that have nothing to do with the paranormal that will produce a fake ghost video just to bring more of an audience to their show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the evolution of the phone app, which I think Jake's going to touch on later, blows my mind. That's the biggest trigger to me. Oh, wow, I said the word trigger on radio. The biggest annoyance to me as well. It's the right now evidence isn't real evidence. I think we all know that you got to stay at a place for more than 10 minutes and not have your phone app find your algorithms of where you are and say Vancouver or Seattle, right? I think we need to get people to put in the time again. Put in it. That's what paranormal research is. You're researching. You're not just doing it like a video. It's not like a video game.
You're not jump
It's real.
scaring.
It's not jump scare. That's the term. And for this year's best, I'll piggyback on what Jake and Ross were saying. With the media, the recycled people, as you guys were saying, branching out, trying to do different things. Like there's the Lizzie Bourdain house. There's a little documentary thing on that where they're trying to tell the story and not just do the investigation. They want to. There's more to it. May not be our favorite, but it's the fact that they're trying to do that instead of just season 4, episode 3, Lizzie Bourdain again. So they're trying to tell more stories. They're trying to go to these locations and just focus on that versus just a 20-minute episode.
Well, the problem is that they're also relying on these individuals as experts of the paranormal that really don't know how to collect evidence. And as I've always said, it's become a situation where the blind is leading the blind because all they're doing is they're just imitating each other. Oh, yes. I saw so-and-so did this on their show, so I think we should do it. But maybe we can alter it in some way, you know? That's the problem. And I don't think we're going to get past it until we get more serious people to have a show, you know?
And they've got to be entertaining enough, and people will have to watch them, and that doesn't always go together.
And for me, one of the bests personal best for 2021 is learning a lot from listening to Ross talk and picking his brains here and there, and also talking to Brandon.
I'm only talking about Lego. What are you talking about?
I know. Hey, you're good at Lego. I got a Lego room now. No, I'm kidding. My
Lego maniac.
And picking Brandon Elvis has been a big help with me too, bouncing things off him too. And then those two guys, in my opinion, are the paranormal heavy hitters that need more recognition and stuff.
I would say that my best story of 2021, and you guys are probably going to laugh, but everybody and their dog stopped doing podcasts. Okay. like everybody, like a couple of years ago, like when I first got into this, everybody had to have their own paranormal podcast, you know, and listening to them was painful. And that seems to be a fad that has passed for the time being, at least in the paranormal world. It has taken over the UFO world by storm. Okay. And I haven't heard a paranormal guest in a long time tell me about the television pilot they might get, which I'm very, very happy about. Okay. Because I think I think people are starting to realize that this, for the majority of people, is a hobby. And that they are now starting to treat it like a hobby. They know they're not going to be the next Jason Hawes or Zach Bagans or Katrina Weidman or whoever it may be. And they're starting to treat it as such. And that was very good for me, because trust me, when you get bad podcasts out there, it reflects on every show. And when one of these idiotic podcasts out there that doesn't know how to treat a guest or ask questions burns a guest, for us bigger shows out there, it makes us harder to tell that person's story because that person doesn't trust us. Okay. I'm also very thankful for this was the least amount of time this year that I heard about Waverly Hills or Gettysburg or the Bolton House or Alcatraz. Okay. Like we're almost starting to have real imagination that there's more than 4 places in the United States that are haunted. Okay.
True.
And
Mhm.
Ross, I have one wish for you with you in the future, if you don't mind.
What's that?
If you ever go back to Brushy Mountain Penitentiary, I want to go with you.
You bet.
Because let me tell you why. I've always had an interest in, these lockdown shows. And
Yeah.
MSNBC actually did a whole like bunch of episodes on Brushy Mountain.
Oh, wow.
And this is going back like 10, 15 years ago. And I've always been wowed by that prison. And the fact that you investigated there, if you ever get to go back, please tell me because I would love to go with you. That
You get to
I'm
be a
just
subject?
prison with the big rock wall on the mountain. I'm just enamored by that.
I said, are you going to be a subject for my next experiment?
No, I'm not going naked in there.
You can wear Spanx. You'll be fine.
Come on, it's a prison. Certain things
Yeah.
happen there,
Oh, I
What
know.
happens in prison stays in prison, Is that
Well,
the saying?
I also understand the fact. I also understand the fact, my friend, that prisons are much like the ocean for me. I'm a meal. I'm not an animal. I'm a meal. Okay, so I'm not going there. Probably the downside to my 2021 was learning how many teams out there, both locally here in British Columbia and around North America, try and shut down locations for other teams to investigate. I think it's disgusting. I think it harms the paranormal field more than it helps. I do not think that there is any logical excuse that anybody can have for trying to lock down a location. Now, we do have to draw a real stern line here, gentlemen, in realizing and understanding that there are some businesses or some museums that don't want every Tom, Dick, and Harry coming in there to investigate. And I can appreciate that. But for the most part, when you have teams out there, whether they're in the States or in Canada, who are trying to lock down locations to prevent other teams from going in, shame on you. Shame on your disrespect for the field. And I really hope that you get your comeuppance for your attitude and your ego going on. I know if I find out that there are teams in my area of British Columbia who are doing this, they will never participate on Spaced Out Radio. We will not allow teams like that to promote their work on our show because it's absolute bullshit. And I don't like it. I find it very offensive, and there's nothing scientific happening. And I'm very, I'll add this to the proud list. This is also a very loud year for ghost hunters not using the word science. I'm very happy about that.
Next year, it'll be skeptic.
It's a
But
cycle.
Negative. I really hope that these teams wake up, smarten up, and realize they aren't getting a television show. They aren't getting famous off of this. All you are is an asshole to the community. And we need people such as these 3 gentlemen here to stand up to help build a team and a reputation that we as people who enjoy ghost hunting are not going to put up with that. And if
I
there's
think we should produce a celebrity death match.
I agree.
Well, absolutely. But if there's
Hunger
a team
Games.
there that's doing that, I don't want to know if Ross Allison or Jake Rice or MERLE is investigating that with them. I think we don't want to add fuel to the fire. And I think we're doing a good job with that. So that would be my best and worst of 2021.
All right.
Reminds me of a really short guy in a really, really big truck when they do that sort of things. Same sort of fortitude.
Hey, now I resemble. Joking.
Short guy, big truck, huh?
Yeah.
Gentlemen, it is that time once again where we need to get all electronic here. And the top 5 worst failed equipment reviews of the year. Mr. Jacob Rice, I know this makes you all hot and horny to talk electronics and gadgets, so we're going to turn it all over to you, my friend.
Okay. So first things first, this was kind of a trend. This has just always been going on. We had a lot of recycling of the same old equipment. New package, your EMF meter is now a rainbow bright lantern, and it's also a tripwire. Who knew? Uh, that you can buy for $229. Anyway, so one of the things also that's a negative this year is the prices on the ghost hunting gadgets have started to soar, even the used ones. So you hear those people with the what do you call them? The portals, ghost portals, gently used and banged up portals are going for $899.
And that's the one where the demon picked it up and threw it against the wall, right?
I'm hoping at least if it got dinged, I want to make sure it's 100% authentic Satan that did it.
Still has demon juice.
Right.
Yeah, still has demon skeet all over it. Perfect. It'll be great. Okay.
$800. And it's yours.
So I am going to start with a dishonorable mention. Because we have honorable mentions just missed the cut, but I'm going to call them dishonorable. And this one came out. This is what you would think is the Spirit Box 11 that you've seen. It's the dual channel one. But this year they came out with a new twist where it reduces the static in between the words. And you only have to pay $229 for this craptastic invention that, operates much like one of the apps that I'm going to get to a little bit later on. But again, another ghost box thing. I could turn it on so you can hear it, but it's going to be the same thing as Billy Bob, Jimbo, Demon. The same old stuff that it filters through. That it's actually not saying that, you're imagining it. Again, this one is going for like $229. Just wait. I got prices up here so I can save you some money, I hope. It was $224. It's now on sale for $190, actually.
Oh.
Okay.
So they added new tools on the back of it to make it extra special.
So where you've got the automatic noise reduction. So channel 1 and channel 2, you turn it up to reduce the sound of the static in between the words. And because it's dual channel AM, FM, you have to have one for each channel itself. But it also does
it come with a vial of demon blood to make it more effective?
Demon seed. Yes.
Oh, demon seed.
Demon juice.
Smear it all over it, but it's got a nice little flashlight, and it beeps when the temperature changes too.
Okay.
Skip it, people. This is my dishonorable mention.
All right.
So one of the other things, and this is to hopefully save you guys some money who's listening and stuff. So I'm going to bring this one up. This is a K2, but it has a sound alert. So by putting the sound alert, you can now sell this thing for $70. Okay. But let's remember, when you go ghost hunting, as Merle and Ross can attest, usually you don't get massive EMF spikes. If you get a massive EMF spike, that means the microwave's on. Okay. So I got my EM pump to test this, because I was going to say, instead of spending the $75, spend $25 and get this meter K, which is digital, because it's important to actually be able to read the output on your screen. And so when you put it here, look, it beeps.
Doesn't look.
It lets you know you're getting a spike. It's showing you how big the spike is, because it's important to write this stuff down so you can go back to debunking everything. And this
data. Come on, you guys.
And it's not like this thing's recording, or it gives you you might hear the little buzz for the sound thing. $70 doesn't tell you anything other than, hi, I'm on.
Well,
versus at least a meter that gives you, an alert, sound alert, so you can go check on things and tells you what the output is.
But I also want to bring up another thing. The fact that the K2 meters are so popular in ghost hunting shows. And the reason why is because it allows the camera to see the reading from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
With the other device that Jake is showing you, the cameras can't read that from a
until
distance.
it goes off.
You could hear it probably go off, but you're still not seeing anything to validate
Correct.
that there's something paranormal happening, as they say.
But it's just so seductive. I go and I look all red and stuff from my microphone. This is very sexy. I had people ask me about, oh, come I can't just like turn it on and tells me a ghost is there. I'm like, you have to use your brain, honey. Okay. Moving on to number 5. Number 4 is the footstep tracker. And the reason why this one, which is now retailing for $70, I went back and I checked my records when I bought it. I paid a lot more for it. I guess it's not doing that hot, so it's on discount. So you turn it on, and the instruction.
Probably because of your review.
Probably.
You ruined it.
I did. Anyway, so how this works is they want you to barely turn it on. Barely turn it on, because when a ghost walks, it's very light. And so you have to put it on the most sensitive setting. So when someone flushes the toilet 3 floors below you, it goes off like this. There's nothing really redeeming about this for $70. Doesn't record anything, doesn't tell you how strong the vibration is. So you get the Eddy Plus, you get more out of it, but this thing's not going to do anything for you, though it does have a cute little logo on the
Does it light up?
It does not. It just measures thing. So watch the hate mail come in, but let me tell you, I've kept these people afloat in business for a while now, so they better not hate on me too much. Okay. So that was number 4. I am now coming to number 3. We covered this one earlier this year. Necrophonic mobile. We could talk about the ghost hunting apps overall, but Necrophonic is your little ghost portal. We turn it on. It's oh so seductive. Let me turn this up. So we can. Are you a demon from hell? Yep. There we go. We got instant ghost. But you can add all these special little sound effects. Echo. Ooh, look at that. My favorite is reverb to make it wet, as they say in audio. And then we could throw some white noise on it too. So, I mean, it's really great for Halloween if you want to pump out some scary sounds for the trick-or-treaters. But this is going to do jack shit for your investigation. Okay, people? But you can record it right to your phone and everything. I just can't with this. Though it is a fun little app, I will say, as I play with it.
And it also does have the instructions on how to do a virgin sacrifice, right?
Well, no, I have that app too. If we go over to the exorcism app, which I downloaded, we could get some information there.
That's good to know.
Yeah, for the laity. I can't wait to get burned for that. I shouldn't have gone after the Catholic Church. I'm Anglican people. What can you do? It's a rivalry. Next up is the Polter tune, which we tested pretty extensively. So my problem with this, I mean, okay, I will say this is another seductive one. We turn it on. It bass lines with this nice little creepy kids music box thing, and it puts out this little beam that if anything walks in front, it'll go off. My big problem with this is there's nothing on top of it. It never shuts up. Anything sets it off, people. And this puppy goes for $200. At least with the music box, which is the coffin-shaped one, and it has another really nice. That one shuts up at least. Okay, but it costs you $400. So all I can say is, people, get your IR motion detector thing and rig this a little up to test it. I can't wait for
Maybe
ghost hunters.
It's supposed to be for background music during the investigation. Maybe you're doing it all wrong.
I know that could be. I mean, I would just put some Cardi B on this and drop it.
There you go.
So that's the Polter tune. That is my runner-up because I've got the absolute most craptastic device.
You're gonna get hate mail.
I'm gonna get hate mail. The Ovilus is here.
The Holy Grail.
The Holy Grail of all the ghost hunting shows. Mind you, they're using the Ovilus 3 because that one's a bit prettier for TV and everything. This is the smaller one. It does a lot more things that don't work, but it's the oh so seductive. It's just like one of those ghost spirit boxes we just did, or the app. They've got dictionary mode where the robotic voice will talk to you and tell you what the spirit's saying. So let's just turn it on. Is Ross a douche nozzle?
Be careful with your words.
Okay. So it said scruple land being. Okay. What city am I in, evil spirit? Mind you, I have to move it a little bit for it to work. I want to make sure you can hear it. Fire? Big. Haze. Well, we had a problem with the fires this summer. Maybe it was someone who perished in one of these
Oh my God,
fires.
it was right. It meant it. It knew it. It
Mhm.
said fire. There was a
It
fire
did.
this summer.
Mm-hmm. And it's got all sorts of other little gadgets in here that don't really work whatsoever for anything. But it's oh so seductive because all I have to do is turn it on and press the fun little icon, and it starts spinning out one of its 25 to 3,500 words in its catalog. And this puppy, if you want, because you know me, I'm extra. It comes with this nice little weather protective case. Oh, what did you just say? Dan. Okay, Dan's brave. Apparently, he was the guy that died in the fire. This little thing adds $20 to it. It retails for only $499
USD.
US dollars. Which is like 1.5 times more expensive than my mic I've got.
There is a fire behind MERLE.
I just
There
did
is.
a radio show,
True.
and she asked me, she's like, what do you think of all this equipment? Because I'm really excited. I'm saving up to get an Ovilus. I really want one so bad.
Uh-oh.
And I was just like, do you want me to be honest with you? And she's like, yeah, please. And so I just talked her through why the Ovilus does not make any sense whatsoever. The first thing that I always bring up to people is for the Ovilus to work, the spirits would be having to be given the information on how to operate an Ovilus. So we're to expect that when you die, in your, what's it from Beetlejuice, the
guidebook to the recently departed.
Yeah, you get that on how to operate the Ovilus, so you know exactly what to do to get the words that you want to say.
Mm-hmm. And of course, it's only in English. So, if you're, investigating, Sierra Nevadas of California, the English is, for someone from 1830, like that's going to come in very handy, right?
I just tell people, just apply common sense to it. It just, there's no way this is actually communicating with ghosts. It's just a random word generator, and they apply psychology to it because will make sense out of a lot of the words that come to you.
Well, so the instructions in this actually said, run your entire session and then pick out the words that make sense.
Wow.
Gentlemen, it is that time of the night where we have to say goodnight to each and every one of you and goodbye to 2021's ghost hunting world and hello to 2022. Ross, Allison, final words as we leave the year behind and look forward to another wonderful year in the paranormal.
Well, I just want to thank all of our listeners and supporters for tuning into the show. Again, we just want to produce something that's very educational and help us come together and help you guys to not get into the mistakes of spending $400 on crap, and help us to advance ourselves. I don't admit that I know everything. I can easily learn from you guys as well. And that's what we need to do. We need to be willing to communicate with each other and share. So I'm hoping as we go into the next year that we can continue this and grow our base and our audience and work together in learning more about the strange things that happen around us.
And for you, Jacob Rice, heading into 2022?
First off, yes, thank you to all of our gentle listeners out there and Spaced Out Radio for hosting us. Appreciate it a great deal. And I will say, get out in the field, investigate, find something amazing and share it with the world. And that would be my wish for you in 2022. And the Rona goes away.
And MERLE, happy MERLE year.
Happy MERLE year, right? No, this has been a great year. I really enjoy this show. It's fun learning a lot, bouncing from each other, bouncing things off each other. And hopefully the listeners pick up some valuable information, like Ross was just saying about talking to that other lady with the Ovilus. It's good information. Save your $500 and go buy a camera and an audio recorder for the same price and a notepad. Yes, the Rona can go away because I got a lot to do in 2022 on both sides of the border, and I just it's getting old. But either way, I'm still going to investigate.
It's getting very old. But you know what? The good part about it is we encourage all of our listeners to go to the Spaced Out Radio archives where we have all of the Angry Ghost Hunter shows and many more stored for free for your entertainment. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe and to make a comment if you have any ghost questions or questions that you would like to ask these guys in future episodes. We will continue with season number 2 of the Angry Ghost Hunter. We always do it the final Wednesday of every month, starting in January of 2022. I've learned a lot this year. Thank you so much, Ross Allison, for bringing the Angry Ghost Hunter to the Spaced Out Radio channel. You're a true friend and mentor. We love you, man.
Thank you.
And Jacob Rice, it's been a pleasure getting to know you this year and being able to call you a good friend of Spaced Out Radio and the Paranormal. Thank you so much for your dedication to the field, my friend.
My pleasure, sir.
And Merle, that's it.
That's what I thought.
That's it.
Merle.
Until next time.
Thanks for being Merle.
Thank you for being Merle.
You're welcome.
You're just the Merle bird gets the worm, people.
Always.
The Merle bird gets the worm. Happy Merle year, everyone. We will talk to you on the Angry Ghost Hunter in 2022. Coming up, Spaced Out Radio in 1 hour's time. Have a good night.